Okay, so here we are. We're going to start with going over Streamer.bot, the very basics of Streamer.bot. Um, so as I bring it up, this is what it looks like blank. I put in a completely blank version. There is absolutely nothing added to this or ready to go. So we are starting with a completely blank Streamer.bot. So um, one of the things that you'll need to do when you first start out is you'll need to come over to where it says Stream Apps. Now, this is going to refer to using like OBS Studio or Streamlabs or Polypop, whatever you are using. So, in here is where you're going to actually start setting that up. Now, to do this, all you need to do is in the empty space, right click and hit Add. It's going to come up with this, and you're going to name it. So, I'm just going to call mine my OBS tutorial, just that way I know which version of OBS I'm using. Now, what it's going to ask is for, what the version refers to WebSocket. Now, when you look at like OBS, it's going to let you know whether you have 4.9 or 5. If you have the latest OBS, it's going to be version 5. If you have OBS 28 or before that you're running on, you're probably going to be using 4.9. You can install the compatibility plugin from OBS's website to have both, in which I do because some code that I have borrowed from others does only run on 4.9. So I have to integrate both. For the IP address and the port and the password, these are actually very simple to find in OBS. So when we go into our OBS, you go under Tools, and then you come down here to WebSocket server settings. This is basically your internal like web server, so to speak. So if you click this, it's going to come up with this panel. So right here, I know the server port is 8888, and then there's a password here. What you can do is show connect info. This is going to give you everything you are going to need. So here's actually the IP address. So we just hit copy, bring up Streamer.bot, and in the host, we just paste that IP address. In the port, again, you go back to your OBS. Where did the window leaves after? So show connect info. I want to change this port number from 444450. I'm going to change it to 888, and that's just that way it doesn't get confused with my regular one. I'm going to hit apply just to have that. Okay, so the server port is 8888. Okay, that's what I've changed it to. That's the wrong Streamer.bot. Here, we put that in. Next is the password. So if I go to showing the connect info, here is my server password. And all I have to do is hit copy, come back to Streamer.bot, put the password in, and there we go. I always click auto connect on startup just so that way it's always going to try and connect as soon as it pops up. And then reconnect on disconnect. So if it ever should disconnect for some reason, it will automatically generate itself to come back up. And this is just to try and keep it easy. Now, if it doesn't reconnect, it usually means your IP address has changed. That will happen anytime we're talking about, you had to reset your router, or anytime you've go away voice mod. Anytime your basically your computer has to reset its IP address. You restarted your computer, you restarted your router, anything like that. So if it doesn't connect, that's usually why, is because your IP address to your computer has changed. But once you have this information, you should be able to hit OK. Then it's going to pop up. It's going to say disconnected. It's going to take a minute to locate your OBS. Oh, wait. Go away. Now, it's not connecting right now, so if it says disconnected and it's not moving forward, right-click, and you can do force, so forcing the connection. And if that doesn't, well, I guess it would be more connect. Let's just try that instead of forcing the connection. Okay, there we go. So now it says connected. So now we are hooked up to our OBS. So that is your first step, is to make sure that your OBS is connected to Streamer.bot. Close that. Okay, so now you have that connected. Well, what about anything that you already use, right? So let's say you're using Streamlabs already. If you go over to integrations, here you can actually do an auto connect and auto reconnect for Streamlab. And if you go to connect, oh no, you still need the API token. For connecting that, so let's go to Streamlabs. I'll log in. Doop doo doo. Oh god, do I even remember this information? Perhaps. Can't tell if my internet's bad or too much going on. Wow. Okay. Try this. As it sits and spins. Okay. It doesn't want to connect for some reason. Am I still here?
Yeah, you're still you froze up for a little bit, but
Yeah,
you're
you're
back.
still here.
Okay. Well, all right. There is a way to get the token. Maybe I'll just do another video of it at another time. Stream Elements is much easier to connect to. So if we just click the auto connect and the auto reconnect for that, and then connect to Stream Elements, what it's going to do is bring up the website for you, and then it's just going to ask you to authorize. Most generally with these connections, it's pretty easy to do and takes care of it for you. Again, I think I'm overloading my internet.
Yeah, you're having some network issues. It keeps stalling every now and again.
Yeah. Okay. So here it says you can, if you guys can see this, the Stream Elements says that, hey, do you authorize Streamer.bot to connect to this and basically join together, right? And all you have to do is hit authorize, and then it would be connected. This way, anything that's triggered in Stream Elements can be triggered. You can trigger other stuff in Streamer.bot. So that's just one thing, some of the things you can do. You can do this with voice mod, which is an easy connect. And you can see there's a lot of different things up here that you can use. Okay. And even Elgato, you can actually program Streamer.bot to connect to a thing like Stream Deck or some of the Elgato software like Wavelink or the Lighting Control Center. You can actually control those things through Streamer.bot if you wanted. And those things we can get to in another time. But let's talk about just actually starting to set up just something that we can actually trigger with Streamer.bot. So you're going to have this panel, and I need to break this panel down to make it a little bit easier because this can get very confusing. Let's just put it that Nate, the primary guy who created Streamer.bot and put it together, he is a coder, but not exactly a UI developer. He's not the greatest creating a user interface. So what we have here is actions. Now, actions are a complete set of things that will happen once a trigger is enabled. So basically the action is a whole thing of different other things that will happen. So think of it as like a box that contains a whole bunch of instructions inside of it. And when you say, hey, here, this box, do this, the box will take all the instructions inside and make it happen. I know that's probably not the best analogy, but it's what I can come up with barely any sleep. So the actions is where you start with. You come up with something and then you create a name for whatever action you want to call it. So, you can call it test, or actually let's just, work with my good old friend the teabag. Okay? So here we've got teabag, and then it's going to ask for a group. We don't have any groups. Now, a group is basically a way for you to manage things to keep them in a just keep them organized, essentially. So for a group like this, I have the teabag as a chat command. So I can just come here and just say, this is going to belong to the group of chat commands I'm creating. There are no different queues from default. We will get to the queues in a minute. You can actually set up different queues for different things. This helps to where you won't be overloading your computer or OBS or anything like that, where people are triggering a whole bunch of things simultaneously that will make your stream crash. You can actually manage what happens when by blocking is essentially what it is. So all we have to do is hit OK. So we've got one that's called teabag, but it doesn't know what to do yet. It knows that there's an action called teabag, but it doesn't know what to do with it. So if you go over here to sub actions, this is the set of instructions you're going to tell the action to do. So this is all the little things that have to happen to make whatever it is you're trying to do happen. So for me, because we are connected to OBS, we can right click and you can go to OBS. Now, what this is going to do is have a full array of different things that you can do with OBS. So, for instance, this take a screenshot. If there is a particular source that you want to take a screenshot of when somebody triggers something, all you have to do is add that in there. So here we've got this, and let's say we want to capture teabag wherever I put them. And as you can see, I have a ridiculous number of things. And I don't know where teabag is because it's not alphabetical order. There it is. So here we go. We're going to take a picture of teabag when it occurs. Where do we want it to save to? Well, I'm just going to go ahead and say, let's just put it in the download folder, and I'm just going to call it test, right? Oh, that's right. So for this, you actually have to have a reference picture initially. If you're just wanting it to overwrite the same photo over and over again. If you were wanting to make them individual and changed each time, you can add percent, capital MM for the month, dash DD for day, and YYYY for year. Put a space, and we could do HH colon and M lowercase mm, and then a percent sign. So this way it would save as the month, day, year, hour, and minute. Whenever it's triggered, it will save as that timestamp. And it doesn't want to let me do that. What the hell? Why won't you let me do that? Well, to make it easier, if you have a picture already here, which I'm sure I do somewhere. Yeah, here we go. We'll just click that. So let's say we already have a picture we can use and we can overwrite. Okay, so it's just going to be named this for the time being. And then we can hit OK. So what would happen is, whenever we set up for a trigger of teabag, it will take a picture of the teabag. Now, the thing is, the way it sits at the moment, nothing's going to happen because we haven't actually triggered the source to go off. So really, it's going to take a picture of nothing. So this is where you have to learn about the order of how things need to occur. So let's say we want to set this up to take a picture in the middle of teabag happening. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come down to sources, and this is one of the things you'll use most often. The sources are all the different things you put in OBS. So for a video, that I basically have teabag is, I can do set source visibility state. Now, this is how I control this stuff. So I'm in the reaction scene where it's located. I come down to, where's teabag? Where'd he go? There we go. So we have the scene it's located in, the source that it is, the state. We want it to be visible. We want it to turn on when we want it to actually happen. So if I hit OK, we have that here. Let me shrink this down so that way we can see OBS as well as the Streamer.bot. So what we can see here is with the teabag, if I right click and we're in edit, if I hit test, It should pop up. Where do they go? That was weird. Where's Teabag? You know, I should have probably simplified this. I'm sorry. Chat commands. Teabag right here. There it is. Okay. Oh, that's because I have 2 different OBSs open. Okay. Which one is this? I'm feeling very bad about this. I'm sorry, guys.
That's all right.
So I
You're
screwed up
good, bro.
my original one. Cool. Let me close this out. You know what it is? It's because Discord didn't work, you know, the way I wanted it to when I started. This is 888. This is the one it should be connected to, right? Yes. 888. Why? That's connected. Okay. So let's try that again. So I've got this where it's, you know, the scene that it's located in, Teabag visible. So if I hit test, it's actually probably still visible because I didn't turn it back off. I didn't instruct it to turn it back off. It's in the chat commands. This is me and my disorganization. My bad. I will fix it for some other time. So, okay. Test. Aha. So teabag happens when it's supposed to happen. But what's going to happen at the moment is it would take the screenshot before that comes up. So to fix this, Streamer. Damn it. Oh, wait. To fix this, all we would have to do is drag this down and below. You can reorganize how this is set up any way you want. Now, to make sure that you want to capture it in the proper moment, you can add delays. And this is how you can control when things happen in a specific order that you want them to happen. So if you add the delay, everything is done in milliseconds. So if you wanted to do, you know, 1 second, after 1 second, that's when it's going to take the screenshot. You would put in 1,000. So you have to think of 1 second as being in thousands because millisecond. And so we hit OK. Now we can take this, drag it in between so that it'll become visible, wait 1 second, and then it's going to take the picture. So that's how we have it set now. Now, I also wanted the source to turn off after a certain amount of time. Well, then I can put in another delay. We'll do 4 seconds. I don't really remember how long teabag is. And instead of having to go through the process of like flipping through like this, there is an easy way to just turn something back off. You click on the teabag and see that it's visible. Go down here to duplicate sub action. It's going to drop it automatically to the bottom. It's the exact same action. And then all we have to do is go to edit sub action, change the state to hidden, and we're good. So now we have to where it's going to turn on, take a picture, and turn off. Well, now, how do we tell this when to do that? That's actually where the triggers section is going to come in. So on triggers, this section right here, this is basically saying when this happens, do the action. So here, we're going to go to core and commands. Now, commands right here, this is anytime somebody would trigger something like you set it up for exclamation point teabag or exclamation point boobs, whichever you want to do. Everybody loves boob. So you go to command triggered. And it says any, which could be anything, but we don't have anything currently. We can go to create command. It's going to pop up with this window. So the name of this is basically whatever you would like to name it. So I'm going to call this just teabag, just for my knowledge, or here, teabag command. Because what if we wanted to do one that's a channel point too? So in this, you can state more than one command for this. So one I can do is exclamation point teabag to trigger it. If I go to the next line, hitting enter, I could also put boobies. And then that's put together. In the group, you can also set this to the same as actions. You can create a group to keep things organized. So I will call this commands. You can do this for Twitch messages, YouTube messages, if somebody was to send you a whisper on Twitch, or if your bot, you have your bot send a whisper. If a subscription message should pop up, so if somebody subscribes and has a message with it, or, same thing with a resub. Right now, I'm going to limit that to a Twitch message. Persist per user count. If you click this, this is basically going to keep track of who uses it and how many times. The persist counter is just how many times everybody has used it. So that just kind of keeps track of however many times it's used. And if you want to see if it's being used too much during a stream, this is something that can help. Or if it hits a certain number, you can actually set up actions to do something different to counteract it. You can also make this case sensitive. So if somebody was to put a capital T for the teabag, it won't trigger. So if you want a very specific way somebody has to trigger it, you can use case sensitive. For global cooldown, this is a cooldown that basically once it's used, this is going to say, all right, nobody can use this until this many seconds. So we could put a cooldown of 5 seconds to it. Nobody can use this for 5 seconds. The user cooldown is if you have somebody who comes in and uses it repeatedly, nonstop, every 2 seconds they're triggering it, you can set a user cooldown to where, they can't use that for 30 seconds, but other people can. So we have one person who uses it and then tries to use it again, it won't work. But somebody else uses it 2 seconds after they did, that will still work. So long as the global cooldown hasn't been affected as well. So you can set up for both to try and limit how much people are triggering your commands. I'm going to remove them just for our testing purposes. Over here, it says grant type. So right now we have allow. And what we have is everyone is currently allowed. If we wanted to, we could also do denied. So if we wanted to make sure our subscribers couldn't use it, we can deny them. Or if we only want our subscribers to use it and our VIPs, only those are allowed, not our moderators. Our moderators are not going to get used. You can actually set different permissions and you can set different groups of people on this to more accurately function things. Now, if you wanted to make it person specific, you would come through here to the user permissions. It will populate with your entire viewers and followers, and you can click specific people and put that only those people are allowed to use it. So if you want to make it person specific, you can. But right now, we're just going to leave it as anybody can use it. It's open-ended, and we hit OK. So the command has now been created. We hit OK. So now we have this put together. It is there and ready to go. And I just realized I skipped an entire step. So my apologies. Again, sometimes just get ahead of myself. One of the things I forgot is setting up your Twitch account or your YouTube account. And right now, Streamer.bot only works with those two. So if we were doing Twitch, you would come to the platforms and then Twitch to set up your account. Go to accounts. I'm not currently logged in. So my broadcaster account is me. That is my account. If you have a separate account you want to use as a bot, you can also log them in. So let me just log in myself. And it's going to come up here. Hey, look, it's me. And it's going to, do you authorize this thing to be able to get all this information? Yes. Okay, logged in successfully. Sweet. So I pop this up. Okay, I am now logged in. We are ready to go on that. And then we have our command in the commands tab. This is here. All right, so let's go ahead and make sure that this is actually going to trigger the way we want it to. So I'm going to go to Twitch. I should have had this up. Go to my creator dashboard. Go to my stream manager here. Shrink this down. Okay. So we know we have it set up. So the one command we have was teabag, right? So if I type it in chat, and now it triggers. Well, I also put in boobies. And that also works. So you can set up your commands to have a specific prefix to it, like an exclamation point, or you can just do it word specific. So that is the basic of setting something up with a command. Now, if we wanted to take that and make it into a channel point, one of the things we need to look at is when we go to our platforms and into Twitch, there's a spot that's called channel points. Now, I already have all these set up on my other streamer bot that I use, but when you create a channel point in StreamerBot, if you want to be able to shut them off entirely through StreamerBot and have a one-click turn them off, the easiest thing you can do is to actually create your channel points through StreamerBot. This will make it to where it says right here with the own. If it says owned, that means StreamerBot has direct control over controlling that channel point in its entirety. With this one where it says add better Twitch TV emote, that is not owned by StreamerBot. StreamerBot cannot control anything about it. So one of the suggestions is when you're setting up things with StreamerBot and you want to be able to shut it off with a one-button press through StreamerBot, make sure you're adding them through here. And it's pretty much the same process. You right-click, you hit add, and I'm going to call this the test teabag here. And we're going to leave it enabled. How many channel points do we want it to be cost? Well, let's just say 1. But let's say they have to leave a message in order to use it. So for this teabag, if they don't put in some kind of message, it's not going to do anything. This is very helpful for when maybe you set something up that will change the text on the screen, or to if you have a game like Rich's, penguin shooting game, the shootout game, you have to input something so that way it knows what it needs to pull from. So we can do that to where if I say user input required, and the prompt is essentially telling when somebody clicks on the channel point, that's telling the person who's trying to redeem it what they need to do. This is your instructions on here's what you need to do in order to actually trigger this. Background color, you can choose whatever colors you want. And this is simply to change the color on the Twitch channel for that. So like when you look here, like my Twitch talk right here, I have this like blue background. And you just choose it from this right here. The max uses per stream. So this is if you only want this to be triggered, let's say 3 times throughout an entire stream. Once those 3 times are used up, it's done. There's no other way to use it. If you want to do it by user, then this is where you can be like, this, each person can only use this 3 times per stream. Great. Now it's, it's one of those use them wisely, use them carefully. Global cooldown is if you want to make sure that channel point cannot be triggered multiple times successively. So, we want a minute between each single trigger. We want to make sure that there is time between. You can do the global cooldown here. Same thing as the commands. You can set up persistent counters to let to basically keep track of how many times those are triggered, whether it be all of them or just individually. And then the group here, this is, how do I put this? It's simply a grouping that's just like, here where I have them set up as none. You can actually set up a group, so I'll just call this like test. All right, and then I hit OK, and it's created. So we have test teabag, it costs 1. My dog is making funny noises. That's weird. So what I'm going to do, let me refresh my creator dashboard here, come back. And then when I come back to the channel points here, it's right there. The test teabag channel point command is there. So if I hit this and hit redeem, and it didn't do what it was supposed to do. Oh, that's right. This is the change that they did in the latest update. So this actually still isn't tied to anything. So we'd have to go back to actions. Under triggers, we would need to then right click, come down to Twitch. Whoop. And then channel rewards. Is that right? The reward redemption. And then we would come down and I got to find test teabag, which is right here. Okay, so there it is, test teabag. Now we could have also created the channel point reward from the trigger spot if we wanted to, the same way we did the commands. But here we created it over in the channel points, and now we're just adding it here. So now we just hit OK. Now if I do this, it should work. Oh, I still have 4 seconds. 3, 2, 1, 0. There we go. Now we can redeem. There it is. Okay. So now we know how we can set it up as a command. We know how to set it up as a channel point. So we have 2 different ways that can be triggered, and you can set these up however you wish. Oh, excuse me. I have to remember here some of the ways they change things. Okay. So let's talk about like if you wanted to set up alerts built into your OBS. Okay. Not that you can't use Streamlabs or Stream Elements, but let's say that you wanted to build the alerts in-house. That way you didn't have to rely on a third party on another website. This way, if that should go down, you still have, here at home. Well, let's make a new one. We'll call this our follower alert. And I'm just going to put this in the group of alerts. Now for a follower alert, our trigger would be going to Twitch and then channel and then follow. So basically this is saying anytime somebody follows the channel, this action will happen. So anytime we get a new follower, it's going to trigger the follower alert. Here you can literally put together whatever you want. So I have image sources I could use. I have you could set up a browser source. So if you had you wanted to bring up what do I want to say? Yeah, okay. I just lost my train of thought. But essentially you can use almost anything for anytime somebody follows. You can use this in tandem with alerts that already exist on Stream Elements. So Stream Elements will trigger, your typical follower alert that you have, but maybe you wanted to make it a little more special, and you have like you have the confetti action, like you want yay type thing you followed, which I have here. I will do the same thing where I've done where I go to sources, set source visibility, and all I got to do is come down here, find my confetti. Where's my confetti? It's in here somewhere. You know what? Let's just make this easier on myself and do something. We'll do the roller coaster tycoon crash because I can find that easier. And then you can add your delay for however long the video is, and then we duplicate the sub action right here. Edit. Come down to visible, hidden. Voila. So it'll come on, stay on for 6 seconds, and then turn off anytime we get a follow. To test this, all we have to do is hit the test trigger. And, oh yeah, it stays off the side of the screen because I have filters and such that make it happen. Anyway, it's longer than 6 seconds. That was probably the worst example I could have used. But you heard it trigger. So, you can do a whole multitude of different things throughout this. And this is just the very basic setups of this. There are so many intricate things you can wind up doing with Streamer.bot. Now, I did say there were, when we talked about like the teabag, and we talked about the queues. Well, if you go over here to action queues, here, this is going to show you if something's... What? Okay. Um, over here in pending actions, this is going to show you everything that is in line to trigger. This is all the stuff that's getting ready to go through. So you can look to see what's going to be pumping through if you have things blocked out. The action history, this is going to show you what actually has been done. So if you have something that didn't work and you're not sure why it didn't work, you can come in here like this teabag. Maybe something went wrong. We can inspect everything the variables after run. This is going to be more handy when you start getting into more complex things where you are starting to use coding variables to put someone's name in a specific spot, or bringing up their profile picture from Twitch, or a multitude of different things. This is how you're going to find a lot of the information. And with this, this is going to tell you, okay, it was triggered by a command. The command was boobies. So boobies was inputted to make it happen. Where did it trigger from? It triggered from Twitch. What was it? It was from a message. Now, if we required people to enter in something to say, like we wanted to make sure that they were typing something when they triggered it, raw input is actually going to be the message that they wrote. And that's going to tell you what they wrote in the exact way they wrote it. And this way, if they typed something wrong or something went wrong with how they put it together, like if you were needing a specific name but it triggered the wrong name, you can look at it and be like, well, you didn't put in the right name. Raw input is a great way for you to identify names that people are trying to target, or if you wanted like your text on screen to change to whatever that message is. This is the source that you're going to use, is the raw input. The counter and user counter, this is telling you how many times it's been used and how many times it's been used by the individual who triggered this specific one, which right now is me, and I did it both times. And then if you come down, it's also going to show you who triggered it. So the user and username. The user is basically the way that you want it, that people typically want it written out. Username is the Twitch version where it's all lowercase. It'll also tell you, are they subscribed? Are they a moderator? Are they a VIP? You can get all sorts of information by inspecting these variables. So this is where you can pick up a lot of information when you start to get into more advanced features that you're wanting to do. But for queues, if you come over to in the middle where there's queues, we only currently have one called default. Well, if we wanted to create a new one, we do the right click, add, and let's call this our channel points. So this is our queue for channel points. And we can make sure that all our channel points will go through this one. So anytime we set up a channel point, they all go through this queue. We can set them this way. Now, when it says blocking means that if there were multiple ones triggered simultaneously, a block will say, we are going to run this action, and once that action's complete, then we can proceed to the next one. We will not mash them together. And this is really your preference. I do blocking to make sure that my OBS doesn't get overwhelmed, my stream doesn't get overwhelmed, or even I get overwhelmed from everything being triggered simultaneously. So by adding blocking, what I can do then is, now that I've got channel points and it is set for blocking, I come over to, we'll just do it by chat command for now. We go over, we edit, go to queue. We can now set it to the channel points. So now, anytime somebody triggers that chat command, and if they were to trigger it repeatedly over and over and over again, it's not going to try and keep repeating the same action on top of each other. This way it can stay spaced out. So if I do that, and then we come over here, and I'm going to put teabag. Or actually, let me do it this way. Let's do boobies. 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 I think we have the cooldown. But if we go to pending actions, it's showing you one. We've got one running. We had one waiting. Now it's getting ready to run the next one. And it did, but we need to make sure that there was some space in between, because the blocking was like trying to do it one after another. and it didn't fully shut down the source and then pull the source back up like we have programmed. But it did keep them from completely overlapping. So one of the things with that is at the end of these actions, I typically add just another delay of maybe like, 1 second or not even 1 second. Sometimes I just put a half second. Just to give me that little bit of time to make sure that when we say turn it off, it has the time to actually turn it off before it's triggered again. So if I was to do this again, how many times? Let's do this 3 times. So copy and 1, maybe. Wow. Okay. Let me copy that. Okay. Okay, so I've hit it 4 times. We go to action cues. So this way, now it has the proper amount of time to shut off the source and then turn it back on. So I usually just add a little bit of a slight delay at the end of my actions just to make sure there is enough time for the action to fully complete what it needs to do before moving on to the next thing. And blocking is my way of making sure that my chat's not trying to break my stream, as many of you yahoos like to do. Or try to do, I should say. So that gives you the cues, and you can set up as many different cues as you want. So if you want to have channel points as one, your commands as another, your alerts as a completely different cue. This way, you can have them each block individually. They can all run simultaneously, so you can have the teabag go off at the same time as your follower alert goes off, but you won't have multiple teabags trying to occur simultaneously or multiple alerts trying to occur simultaneously because you have blocked those individually. On the followers and alerts and bits alerts and things like that, that is incredibly important because you want each one of your followers to have their 5 seconds of fame, right? They want to have their special moment. So blocking is a great way to make sure that that can happen. And that is a lot of just the basic setting up for with Streamer.bot, just some very basic things you can create. There are so many other things you can do with Streamer.bot. So like you can actually come in here. I actually have been doing this myself to where I have come down anytime I start Streamer.bot, I actually put run a program and I go through, find the executable for the program. So I actually, when I start Streamer.bot, it will load up voice mod. It'll load up my chat monitor, like Restreams chat or Chatterino or Streamcaster, whatever you want to use. I can bring that up too. And this way, I'm never forgetting to actually, bring up the programs I need to run. So as soon as I hit Streamer.bot, I basically turn everything else on I need for my stream, which is nice. You can actually have this run, get the programs running that you need. Timers, you can actually set timer states where if you wanted, like, your follow me on Facebook or something like that, you can actually set up timers to make sure that, every, 50 minutes or something like that, that's popping up. So the timer state here is literally an enable and disable. But if you were to go to settings and then come to timed actions, right click add, and we're going to call it teabag, right? And it's the only one we've set up so far. So in here, if you enable it and have it as repeat, it will continuously basically do the loop of making sure that every time it hits a certain point, it will basically enable. So this is how I get my, hey, you should see my website, or hey, you should follow me here. I do that with my timed actions. So let's say every 5 minutes, which would be 300 seconds. So every 5 minutes, we have the teabag go off. maybe that's not going to be enough. Maybe we want to make sure that there's a certain amount of chat that happens, before it triggers. So let's say we need to have 20 messages in chat before it triggers. You can actually have both of these. So it will not trigger unless 5 minutes has passed and 20 lines of chat have been written. Once those conditions are met, then it will trigger whatever action you're putting in, such as teabag. If you were to click random, you can actually put, for the time, you can put somewhere between 5 minutes and 10 minutes. I don't know when it's going to happen, but at some point between 5 and 10 minutes, that's when we need this to be triggered. That way it comes up a little more sporadically, a little more, it's not strictly timed to where people know exactly when that's going to pop up. You make it a little more spontaneous. So you can actually set up your timed actions in a way that makes it easier. So we have that. And then, of course, you have to go back to your actions. And we would add another trigger to this. And what we would come down to, where is it? Timed actions right here. So core timed actions. It's going to pop up here. We choose our teabag. Again, you can create it from here if you need to. But now we have a timed action to it. So anywhere between 5 and 10 minutes is when teabag will then be triggered. This way, it's spontaneous, and we have to have 20 lines of chat before it's going to trigger. So you have these conditions that are set there, giving you automation, giving you ways to make things happen on your stream that you don't have to control, but you know they're going to be there. This is fantastic for call to action. This is fantastic for when you want to send reminders to your chat like, hey, don't be a dick in my chat. You can send that out. And sending messages in Twitch is as simple as, again, adding an action. I'm just going to call this a message. We could add a group if we wanted, but on the sub actions, you go to Twitch, chat, and you can send an announcement to channel or send a message to channel. Let's just do a send a message. We don't have a bot account connected, so I'd have to choose my broadcaster, which is me. And I'm just going to say, don't be a dick. Voila. Now we have a message that is just going to go out that just tells chat, don't be a dick. And to make that happen, we'll do another timed action. We're going to create a timer. We will do this. Sure, let's do this every 5 seconds. Why not? I'm just going to call it dick. There we go. So every 5 seconds in my chat, it should say, hey, I'm saying don't be a dick. And it is. And so every 5 seconds, it's just going to keep saying that. So you can actually create these kinds of ways of engaging without actually having to do anything. Okay. I'm going to disable that for now. And when you want to turn something off and make sure that you don't want to use it, you just right click on the trigger and just hit the enable, make sure it's unchecked, and you're good to go. If it's red, it's disabled. Now let's talk about what if you wanted to have different messages to pop up. You wanted it to be different each time. So this is where you can go in and channel, or not channel, chat. Here we go. Send message to channel. Okay, so we're going to have a different message. I like boobs. Okay, and we'll add one more. And that's going to be do Twitch, chat.
Canadian butt sex.
Canadian butt sex. You got it. CBS time from our broadcaster. Okay,
Yay.
So you've got these three. Well, how do you make sure that it's going to be random? This is actually not as hard as you would think. Right click on one, go to add group. Okay, then you just make sure that these all go into the folder. Whoop, you're not in the folder. Now you're in the folder. So when I close this folder, they're all in one group. Now on the folder, right click, come down to random. And now it says perform random action from that group. This is how you can randomize any of your actions. So if we re-enable our timed actions and let this go, if we look, now it said Canadian butt sex. What's it going to say next? Don't be a dick. What's next? I like boobs. So, I mean, it's running through different ones, but you don't know which one it's actually going to pop up with. See, it didn't go in a pattern because it said don't be a dick instead of Canadian butt sex. Now it's back to I like boobs. So this is how you can actually randomize anything. And it doesn't apply just to messages. You can do this with sources. You can actually, if you wanted to in here, we can go to core. If you go to actions, run action, we can add teabag to this. So let's add teabag into that mix. And we'll just wait to see if it does it. So it's still sending messages. At some point, it will bring up the teabag. Waiting. Okay, it's not popping up as much as I want. So let me disable this real quick. So when if you're like, man, why isn't it choosing one that I really want it to choose? I really want it to choose this specific one more often. If you highlight the action under the group that you have randomized and you right click, go down to where it says wait. Here you can assign a value to this. So if you wanted the teabag to happen half the time that everything else does, you can put in 0.5. This is 50%. 50% of the time we want the teabag to be triggered. And here we can, if you wanted to weight these even more differently, let's say we make this 0.1, so there's 10%. Or no, we want Canadian butt sex to happen a little more often. So let's make it 25%, so 0.25. Except I put 2. There we go. Okay, so we've got a 50%, 25%. Let's make this one a 10%. And we'll make I like boobs 15%. So now that we have those weighted how we want, we should be able to see that when it randomly generates all this, that we should see a little bit more teabag than we do everything else. So now we're going to enable this. It really wants the Canadian butt sex. It really wants Canadian butt sex. Wow, why is that? I feel like the weight. There it is. A little weird that it was focusing so much on Canadian butt sex.
It knows who's in the chat. Look
It
who's
does.
in the chat right now.
It very much knows who's here. It knows the audience. But you can randomize so much different stuff by just throwing it into a folder and then randomizing it.
I actually didn't know about the weighting. I just added multiple instances of the one that I wanted it to be more often.
Yeah, no, you can actually sit and individually weight these, which is fantastic. This is how I, for the Nerdcast battlers, to make sure that common, uncommon, rare, and all that was evenly distributed, I actually took each action and weighted them according to their tier. So this is how I made sure that it tried to stay on track with that tiering system.
No, it's good to know. I'm gonna go back my links. I have the Discord link weighted heavier, but
Yeah.
the way I did it was just added the Discord link like 6 times instead of just once.
Yeah. This will clean it up a little bit easier for you.
Yeah.
So that's what's nice about it, is that can help keep things a little bit cleaner and not overloading with, well, here's the same action multiple times. How many do I have? I have 20 of them? Why? It's just going to help you clean that up just a bit more. Let's see here. So that's another thing to kind of give a little bit of spice to even just some of your more basic things. So if we had multiple different actions we wanted to do, we could come in here, and this is basically the same thing as like doing nested scenes on OBS or whatnot. Is we can do let's say we're just going to call this everything random. All right, so we're really just going to throw everything we've created, and we're just going to throw in here, and we're going to make them random. So if you go to core actions and you do run action is literally going to list out everything you've created thus far. And you can add that specific action in. So there's teabag. Let's run teabag. What else we got? The messages. Let's just do those two. And then we're going to just take them, put them in a group. And then just hit them, just hit it random. And you can assign this however you want. But now we know that when somebody triggers our everything random action, however we have it triggered, it's going to just bring up some action that we've already created, and it's going to just run it. This way you don't have to completely recreate an entire action and, have to sit there and duplicate and duplicate and duplicate. Running the action is going to be the easier way to make that work. So you can use actions within actions within actions, however you need that to be set up. Let's see. And then I'm trying to think of anything I might have missed when it comes to just like these basic setups. You can do things for your subscribers. If you needed to add tags or remove tags, I mean, you can do so many different things. Now, I could sit and try and go over all of this with you guys, but what I'm going to suggest is that you go to Streamer.bot and click on the docs, which will bring you here. It'll bring you to the wiki. And the reason I say come to the wiki is if you go down to sub actions right here, this is where you can learn about all the different things that Streamer.bot can do with what's already built into it. So, like maybe we wanted to look at our Twitch specific things. All right. What can we get from Twitch specifically and make happen? So, here's the create clip. Create a 30-second clip. If we click that, it will tell you, hey, if you just put this action in there, it's literally going to create a 30-second clip, and that's what it's going to do. But then when you start getting into more advanced things, it's going to show you what's available to you if you start learning how to work variables. So if you start creating those if this then that kind of statements, or you set you do all these different logic type things, which we can get into in another tutorial. You'll have this information available to you. You'll be able to see what you can use to create what you're wanting to create. So you can have Streamer.bot actually automatically add moderators. So you have a user, the variable is like, let's say somebody redeems a channel point that makes them a moderator for a day. So you can actually be like, hey, this person redeemed this many channel points, wham, they're a moderator for now. And the way you would set it up is, you have the user who triggers it and the variable. So you would want to do the user that invoked the action. So like a raid leader, subscriber, point redeemer, however you want to do it. But in the variable spot, you would put user. And this way you can reward somebody in a very unique way. The Streamer.bot wiki has so much information on it that you might get a little overloaded. So try to stay a little bit more on the simple side. For like OBS Studio, this will go over all the different kind of sources there are. Like setting the GDI text. This is what I was talking about with setting text on your screen. You can put text sources in there, but you can actually adjust it to put whatever you need in there. So, you put the variable in like target user. Somebody redeemed it. Well, put that in there, and that's going to bring whoever redeemed the action. That name is going to be replaced. That's going to replace what's already existing for the text on OBS. So this is, a big spiral of different things you can do, and it's a lot of experimentation. There will always be a lot of experimentation. And sometimes you're going to get lost. You're not going to know what to do. And that's where it's important to reach out to others. We have plenty in the network Discord. There's also a Streamer.bot Discord, and there's also the Streamer.bot Extensions Discord, full of people who are very, very willing to help. I mean, it's an amazing community that you wind up getting involved with when it comes to Streamer.bot. The last thing I want to show, other than the Streamer.bot wiki, is if you come to this spot over here that is called extensions. And when you go to extensions, it's going to take you to the extensions.streamer.bot. Now, this is where people have curated and published ready to go actions that you can use. So things that you want to be using, things you want to already have on your stream. So in here, you can actually flip through and find a whole lot of things. There are a couple that I can, that are good starter ones that you can start with, and I just have to find them. I'll probably go ahead and link those into our Streamer.bot channel in the Discord. But through here, these are full, ready to go things. So here's Urban Dictionary. Again, I didn't build it. This is literally was built, and this is shared out, and this is 100% open for anybody to use. Of course, warning, use at your own risk because there are no filters. So literally anything can pop up. So if you go to this one, here's the import code. Now he has it to where you have to download. So I'm going to go ahead and download it. Whoops. Nope, that's not what I wanted to do. Let me open up the folder that it sits in. Now there's to import these things, to basically bring in somebody else's stuff into your Streamer.bot. It's actually incredibly simple. This is probably the most simple process they ever put together. You click the import. It's going to come up with this, where, you have an import string. Now, it'll basically be a bunch of letters and numbers and symbols. Sometimes they'll do the .sb. All you'd have to do is grab the file, drop it in where it says import string. And as you can see, it brings in the action, Urban Dictionary. It also brings in the command for Urban Dictionary, that the command is !urban. Everything is usually pretty well preset up. So if I hit the import, we're just going to go ahead and bring it in. Now, he has it automatically disabled so that way nobody, triggers it without you being ready for it. So I'm just going to go ahead and hit enabled. So what you're going to be looking at is basically how he put it together. You're going to see execute code, and then it'll have the Twitch message and going to YouTube. If you're not going to YouTube, you can just disable that. And there you go. Now you don't have to worry about it, but it's there in case you do. When you bring in something that somebody has created code, double click onto it. Okay. It's going to look like this. It's going to look scary. Trust me, it's fine. What you're going to do is format the document. Just make sure it's right. Find references. And that's basically taking this information up top here, and it's looking through your PC to make sure you have those so that way it can actually operate in the way it's supposed to. So it's found one potential reference. It has added it to the list. So here it is. It's grabbed the things it needs to make this work. Then you just hit compile. If it says compiled successfully, it should be good to go. And then I just hit save and compile, and now we should be able to trigger this as we want. So if we go over to Twitch and let's say Urban, and we do Gluck 3000. Did it work? It should have. Is the command? Oh, the command's not active. My bad. So needed to activate the command too. So right click, enabled. Now it's there. Now we can do this. Urban Gluck. Oh no, that's Cluck. I don't even want to know, but Gluck 3000. Now it should bring the information. There it is. So now we actually have it to where it pops up the Urban Dictionary. And all we had to do was import, because the Streamer.bot community loves to share. They really do. So you can flip through Streamer.bot extensions and find so many different things that you can integrate into your stream. Here's a timeout roulette. Basically somebody triggers it and it's going to time somebody out. You don't know who it's going to be. Make sure when you look at these things, you look at basically the installation, okay, here's the import code, but then they also have things like configuration. They're going to tell you how to set it up to make sure it runs the way it's supposed to. Usually these are very, very clear, very straightforward, so you shouldn't have too much issue. They really build these things, to be easy. But you can flip through these and get a lot of just things to get you started, things to get your viewers engaged. Like here's the Among Us ban. You could actually, have people ejected like they are in Among Us as your ban animation. Two that I use almost religiously is display random image from folder and play random video from folder. These two actions right here, these two things of code, I have duplicated more times than I can count because I need those specific things where it pulls the image or the video from my folder, sets it to my OBS, and then voila, I have something different appearing every time this one action is triggered. This is how I create most of my stuff, is from these two right here. So when you start getting it, when you play with it and you start understanding this stuff, like these two become like almost they are worth their weight in freaking platinum. I mean, it's amazing. But you can literally go through here and download so many different things, have so many different just things to use to keep you safe, to do really anything. And then beyond that, if we go to and I'll show you in Discord here. I'll go to the Streamer.bot extension one and I'll bring this down. So here, like in the Streamer.bot extensions Discord, the icon looks like this here. You can come through here. There are people who have ideas. There's public collaborations where people are working together to make certain things happen that they can get, work with the community for. You can see what other people have created and actually, gain some ideas, and you can ask them questions and they will absolutely answer. And then the other one is the actual streamer bot, and this is going to go through things. They'll have like the announcements. Hey, we have an update. Here's what that update's going to do. If you have suggestions on, hey, I don't really think this particular section's clear, and the wiki, can you, make sure this is a little bit clearer for people who may not understand it? They also have curated examples. They have tutorials. It's a huge discussion on how to create things. The resources available to you with StreamerBot are absolutely immeasurable and incredible in so many ways. I go here when I am stuck trying to set something up. I go here. I ask questions. I let them know I don't know what I'm doing with coding. I've never coded. And they go, that's okay. We'll help you out. Let's help you try to understand. And they do such a good job at just, helping everybody create. Because there's going to be an idea you have that somebody else is going to go, man, I like that idea and I have something else that I want to build upon it. There's always going to be that, and that collaborative effort becomes amazing. You never know what you're going to wind up coming out with. So those are two that I absolutely recommend going to with StreamerBot because they have so much information. The StreamerBot extensions, again, fantastic. And then having the actual StreamerBot docs where it's the wiki that goes through all the different things you can do, absolutely fantastic. So this is basically all the stuff to kind of just get you started and moving with StreamerBot to get you pushed forward. I do want to make note of one feature that StreamerBot does have is if you click this chat, I did it again. Hit the wrong one. Hang on. Why are you? This is my actual StreamerBot. This is the one that I built. And if you want to see how ridiculous my stuff is, I can absolutely show you. I have a lot of different groups, and there are tons of actions within these groups. And when I say that I do a lot of nesting, where's my sub printer? Oh, not the sub printer. TikTok. So when I go down to TikTok, that me making myself a TikTok that I have appear here, This is everything that actually is required to run it for me, the way I had to build it. The make a TikTok, if you basically look in here, I'll have where it will run actions somewhere in here. Actually, crap. There it is. So like here, an entire action of, you know, hey, if this scene if I'm on this scene, make sure that it blurs this scene is basically what it is. I also have an action for banned words. If anything written in the raw input, it, you know, comes through to where, you know, somebody's trying to use some kind of offensive language that I don't want to ever pop up, I have it to where if that banned word appears, it immediately stops the action. It will not continue any further. This is one of the ways that I had to build in to make sure I'm protecting myself, protecting my community. And it's definitely something that I'm going to share out. I need to start sharing some of my stuff out to you guys. But yeah, the chat. Where did it go? Oh, here it is. It appeared over here. So if you hit the chat, what this actually does is give you a chat box. And if you're running with both YouTube and Twitch, you can actually use this to monitor both chats. It will combine them both. And then you actually have here where you have specific actions you can take care of. So if you wanted to start a raid, you can have that there. If you have a action set up for you want to ban somebody, you can trigger it from the chat box. In the settings, this quick actions bar is what you can actually set multiple different actions to. So let's say we wanted to set a ban to our number 1. Well, then when the chat pops up over here, it'll have the numbers next to it. That way, you know, hey, number 1 is my ban button. And if I want to ban somebody immediately, I just click that number 1 button, my whole ban thing goes through and we're done. So this is a helpful tool if you don't have a multi-chat option, or you just want to have a simple way to manage your chat and you're by yourself or something. This is a good way to take care of it. The nice thing is you can also invert the chat so that way it'll appear at the top and not the bottom. But yeah, you can also make sure the highlights come in just like they do on Twitch. So that's actually a pretty nifty tool that's actually built in there. Other than that, that's pretty much everything you would need to really kind of get started. If you have any questions, I am here to listen or take them. Or if I missed anything, please shout it out.
Man, you went over the basics and the beginning stuff real well.
Oh, thank you. I'm hoping it all made sense. And of course, you know, if there's any questions, you know, definitely be putting it into the Discord server. I like to have the questions be open and visible to everybody in the Discord, just that way it's not just you that are learning, but everybody learns from it. There's stuff that I've learned from Rich here that I never knew how to do before. And thankfully he taught me and now I know how to do it and I can teach others. And that's one thing I want to build is that ability for everybody to teach each other different things.
And then that's another thing. If maybe OSU is explaining it and you're not quite understanding it, ask me, ask Red is another one that's been working on learning Streamer.bot. Maybe someone has a different way to explain it that you might understand a little better.
Yep. Lacey Rising.
Yep.
She's also working with it.
Jeremy's
just getting started.
I meant Rising, not Red Queen.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know, we have people who are experienced in it. And there's always new stuff we're learning about it too. Like there's always new things that you can do with Streamer.bot.
I just learned how to control my Spotify with it.
Yeah, and which is really, really cool. I want to figure out if I can hook up Apple iTunes with it, since my wife kind of forced me into iTunes.
Spotify all the way.
I know I was on Spotify, but I had to think. I had to think about, you know, financial matters. I couldn't pay for Spotify and Apple Music simultaneously, so. But yeah, I mean, there is so much you can do with Streamer.bot. It does have a steep learning curve just because of it being created by a coder. And it doesn't have the easy interface like some others may have, like Mix It Up or Atom or Firebot. But there is so much open-endedness to it that you really can create more with it. And the best way to learn Streamer.bot is to get in there, mess with it, and experiment, because that is like brute force learning with Streamer.bot is probably the best way to learn.
And make sure you back up your files.
Yes. Oh, hey, there's a good one.
Because I just had to redo mine. I did an update and it went unstable. I had to redo the whole thing.
Right. So let me show, because actually Rising asked me how to do this. And I told her it's honestly so incredibly simple. You'll just go, wow, I feel dumb. So if you go into your Streamer.bot folder, you're going to see basically all of this. This is like, oh my God, there's a lot of stuff here. Don't worry. If you go to the backup, every time you close Streamer.bot, it's going to create a backup. And
Luna.
one of the things you want to look at is basically the date it was modified. So here, this would be my latest backup right here. So if I click this, this is everything it backs up. So what would I need to do? Well, I can just do this, highlight them all, hit copy, and then get out of my, whoop, oh crap. Go back in here. If you go into data, and then you just right click and paste, and you just hit replace all the files in the destination, voila, you have reinstalled a backup. And you can do this with a fresh install of Streamer.bot. You can do this if you have it on one PC and then you're moving it to a laptop. You can do it this way. This is legitimately how you restore Streamer.bot. This is the easiest way to make sure it's taken care of. So if for some reason things go wonky with your Streamer.bot, just make sure you're in here in your backups and you're just grabbing the latest one. Maybe you copy it and you save it somewhere else, just that way you always have one, just in case you accidentally delete the entire folder. But no matter how you do this, there's always backups being made. And I can go back, let's see, how far can I go back? I can go back to August right now and go back to my August build if I really wanted to. So, don't worry about thinking you're going to screw everything up, because if you haven't touched anything in here, guess what? There's going to be a backup before you screwed up in the first place. So there's always a way back with Streamer.bot, which is one of the more fantastic things. So, yeah.
So this is probably the newbiest question ever, but you get this from a link, right? Streamer.bot?
You get it from where?
Streamer.bot. It literally is the website is what it is. It's Streamer.bot.
Yep.
Okay.
And it's so worth it. It connects with literally everything. I don't know what OBS you're using, NightGecko, but it connects with everything.
Yeah, pretty much. If it has a WebSocket server, you can pretty much connect to it.
Okay.
Additionally, if you're one that you want to have some kind of text-to-speak option, I haven't worked with this yet. I'm actually getting ready to work with it myself. They also have one that's called Speaker.bot that's available, and that's basically a text-to-speech program that you can basically integrate with Streamer.bot, and you can make all sorts of different things happen with. So if you're interested in that, you can do that.
I actually am looking at that. I've been reading about it. I haven't downloaded it yet, but I want to do freaking Morgan Freeman. I know we were talking about it on the WWO side, and I want a Morgan Freeman recap for WWO.
Yeah. So yeah, like Streamer.bot has a lot of things available to it. If you sign in with your Discord, like literally that's all you have to do to sign in on Streamer.bot. You don't have to, but if you do, you will have things that are available to you, such as decks. And what I've been doing is I have created a basically stream deck for my moderators that they can go into. And they can sit and make sure that they have control over what they need. You can set this up to be whatever you need by basically anything you've programmed in Streamer.bot. So if they were like, hey, he's not really able to pay attention to the chat right now, but shit's happening and we need to do a lockdown, all they'd have to do is click that lockdown, and bam, that action is run as if I clicked it. If they just want to make sure that they're clipping things and they don't need to enter anything in the chat, they can just hit this clip button and voila, the clip action runs. If they need to turn channel points off, if they want to, oh, hey, somebody's being a jerk, on YouTube and we need to turn off the chat, turn on the Twitch only chat, because that one's a little bit more controlled than maybe our other ones, so that way it doesn't appear on screen. I'm
I gotta
building
figure
this
that one out.
Yeah, I'm building this board to basically give my moderators control on how to manage the stream, not just, oh, well, we're going to ban somebody or time somebody out, but they can also do things like randomly trigger that's what she said, or the confetti congrats, or, whatever they need to do. I'm building this board so they can help me manage. This is a fantastic tool to use. So once you have things connected, if you go to launch deck, once you have it there, it's right here ready to go. And then you can just take this and send it to your moderators. You can send the link to them and take care of it.
And as a streamer, if you are in OBS, you could actually put that as a doc on your OBS. That way it automatically pops up when you open OBS, so you can click on it too.
Yes. And when you go down to the deck options, there is a security to it. So I keep mine private. Here are the people who have access to the board. Rising, I'm still waiting for her to verify she's logged in. But this way, I have made sure that my moderators are the only ones that are available to access this board and nobody else. So the fact that there is that security option there, even though they're doing this over the internet, that security is everything. So, I mean, what they've been doing with Streamer.bot and the things they've been building and putting together for streamers is almost unparalleled. To have my moderators have access to things that they may need is fantastic. So
OSU gives his moderators tools to actually moderate. I give my moderators tools to fuck with me.
Well, because a lot of it comes because of Winnable Wednesday.
Yeah, I don't blame you one bit.
Literally, that is, as much as I enjoy Winnable Wednesdays, I also consider it my biggest nightmare.
Yeah. Like I said, I know we all talked about it, but if you need to take a break from Winnable Wednesdays, I know everyone here is going to understand, man.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I've also thought about handing off the hosting duty of it to, others in the network, just in case I need a day where I just need the break. And this way it gets, you guys the exposure to new audiences as well. So
that doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah. It and there's a way I can do it with Twitch. And because of how I do OBS with portable mode, I can literally zip my OBS, send it to you.
God, someone's gonna have to have a major computer to run your OBS, though, bro.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I think most of us, Jeremy probably can't.
Jeremy wouldn't be able to run it as I have it. You, I think, can now. You should be able to. Rising would be able to do it. Yeah, but I mean, it's one of those. You definitely need a little bit of a beefy computer.
You gave me a supercomputer, sir. Anytime I tell someone I got 128 gigs of RAM now, they're like, "What?" I'm like, "Yeah."
That's still too much to me, but
yeah, but I won't have to worry about it for like a decade.
Yeah. Probably your PC is gonna die before that RAM goes out.
Yeah,
probably.
I got the 12 gigabyte graphics card, so that'll handle a lot.
Oh yeah. Well, I've got a 16 gig, and I've been crashing it lately.
Oh really?
I'm getting very extreme with some of my stuff in Blender. I'm really pushing boundaries on what I can do.
I need to re-download Blender and start working with it. See if I can figure some stuff out.
It's definitely fun for me.
Well, I know I want some more stuff, but number one, money is an issue, and number two, I know your workload is an issue. So I've been like, I just deal with that for a while.
If you have stuff you want me to design, I will always do it. I only have one more thing to design for WWO, and then I have nothing on my design plate. But Yeah. Are there any other questions about Streamer.bot stuff?
No, not for me.
Okay.
I think I'm good.
Well, again,
I think I covered more than any questions I could have currently.
Okay. Well, I'll be loading this video onto YouTube, so that way, if anybody needs to review it, they can. I know Jeremy wanted to see it. I know Red and Anxiety Onion wanted to be here. I don't know if they forgot or something else, but
they're both not online, so I'm wondering if they have something going on.
They might have something going on, and that's okay. I'm going to load this, load it onto YouTube and then put it into the Discord. That way, anybody who wants to view it can view it. This is not the cleanest I've ever done with presenting something. I'll do better next time. I'll have myself a little bit better organized.
Get your prompter going, man. Give yourself a script.
Yeah, that's what I had planned to do, and I ran out of time.
I know how that goes.
Yep.
No, and I'm sorry from earlier. My dog jumped on me and knocked things over.
Oh, it's all good.
You're good. I realized I was eating with my mic unmuted.